Marhaba Noha. Hi Noha, how are you doing?
Very, very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Noha is based in Egypt. She's a social entrepreneur, and I will give you the chance to introduce yourself, please, Noha, because we never met before. So this is our first meeting online, and I've heard about Noha and the work that she does. So I'd love to learn from you, Noha. Who are you? What do you do? What's your experience? And what got you to become a social entrepreneur?
I'm Noha Khater, as you just mentioned, Sahar. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Al-Muneer and our newly launched company, also Drew. So basically, I started my career as a doctor. I'm an ophthalmologist. I graduated from Cairo University, did my training in ophthalmology, traveled to the US and in the UK, got my degrees there. And I specialized in a very special, delicate field, retinal surgery. When I was doing my training in the US, I noticed that most of the patients there were diabetic patients. And coming from a family, a typical Middle Eastern family where half the family is suffering from obesity and the other half are suffering from diabetes, it made a lot of sense to me. And at that time, when I started my training in the US, my fellowship, I didn't realize that diabetes was the leading cause of blindness in the world. Finished my fellowship for personal reasons. I came back to Egypt because my father at that time wasn't feeling well. And I started my private practice and at the same time started teaching at the university, at Cairo University, where I did my master's and PhD. And same thing when I started my private practice and in retinal surgery. And this was actually the first thing, the first challenge I faced when people started telling me, nobody will come to a female retina surgeon to check their eyes and to do their surgeries. And of course, this was very challenging for me. But anybody who tells me you can't do this is actually, the green light for me to actually do it, right? So anyway, started my practice, and again, most of my patients were diabetic, even and suffering from blindness from diabetes or eye issues because of diabetes, including my own family members. So it was kind of a calling for me. I need to do something in this space. Fast forward, after a lot of experience in the private sector and teaching in university, I decided to launch something that is specialized for diabetic eye care services. And at that time, I happened to meet my co-founder, Rania, and we launched Al-Muneer in 2014. The idea was like a pilot study, how can we create a specialized service for diabetics, doing routine checks for their eyes, specialized treatment, all in one space, like a one-stop shop. But the differentiator here was being tech-enabled. So we built our own technology platform. I mean, Rania, who has a background in computer science and also in economics, she built her own technology platform, and this was the first platform we used to manage patients. It was like a CRM, electronic medical record system, financial booking system, but it's all in-house developed. And it was all on a pilot test. It was amazing response from the patients. They felt if you imagine the journey of a chronic patient, they tend to go to the doctor a lot. And they're always carrying their bags, which has their medical tests, they have their diagnostics, their imaging. So it's quite an exhausting journey. So it was an immediate hit for their patients. We started giving out this platform to other clinics as well. And then we realized that we were perfecting the in-clinic experience for patients, but the minute they go home, we're missing something. They don't have any technology resources to, manage their disease follow-up, because it would be very naive to just address the ocular issues of diabetes while you want to address diabetes itself. So we started shifting towards being a holistic approach, not just focusing on ophthalmology, but focusing on managing the entire system, like diabetes and the problems it causes, like kidney problems, like heart problems. So we launched Drew in 2023, which is a lifestyle app for managing patients with diabetes. And then because, of course, the biggest cause of type 2 diabetes which is the most common cause, is obesity. And like I said, when you look at the patients there, it's a diabetes and obesity, it's like a social disease. You find that half the family, because of course of the eating habits are overweight, and the other half and they're accepting diabetes as a normal consequence of aging, as
Yeah.
is something, when you get older, you'll get diabetes and hypertension. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
Because we have family members that and invested very much in their lifestyle, in their eating habits, and they don't have diabetes. While the other ones were like, it doesn't matter, I'll just eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and not walk and not exercise. So it became like a mission, it's how you want to deliver a certain service to patients, because there is the main reason what you want to improve their lives, you want to improve their longevity, the quality of life in itself. So this is basically how the journey started.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think that I have a lot of questions. And first I will start with, do you still practice medicine, or do you feel like you have to give full time for this?
Well, that's a very good question. Yes, I do practice medicine till now, and I do operate and I do see patients. It's not the entire week, it's only 2 or 3 days a week in the middle of everything. Being an entrepreneur, you have to learn to juggle a lot of things, family life, work, the business, everything is all just one thing to me. I like to practice because I love my patients. And every time I see my patients, I like to see what's missing for them. It was the whole idea. This is how the whole business idea was born. It's like, I don't want them to carry their medical records. I want them to do their checks, and I don't want them to lose their vision. Oh, no, 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 no. I want them to control their diabetes. And then the diabetes is coming because they're overweight and they're not eating. So I want to control obesity. So it's like everything is based on what I saw from my patients. So I'm not giving up this link as much as I can, Sahar, if I can help it.
Amazing, yeah, because I feel like even especially as female entrepreneurs, you're always gonna juggle. You're always gonna be juggling,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially if you're a mother, you're always gonna be juggling everything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My calendar is full of everything. It's not like work is separate or kids are separate or everything goes together.
Exactly, exactly. That's exactly the same here.
But what I notice is that sometimes the medical field can be very separated from the entrepreneurial field and the business field. How did you find your colleagues and the people you're working with receive this, or did they understand what you're trying to achieve? Is it easier? Because I just feel like, the medical world, it's still in a place where we go there when we are sick. We don't take control of our lives. We don't take control of our well-being. The whole healthcare system is a little bit still traditional in a way. Did you find that experience?
Absolutely. I mean, having my initial experience, like opening those clinics and starting the clinics that were focused on diabetic eye diseases, wasn't really a challenge because it was a natural extension of my practice, my existing practice as a doctor and having my own private practice. But when we invested in the technology part in the platform, and then we launched Drew, which is an app, we were met with a lot of skepticism,
Mm.
especially from doctors, because, like you said, it's a very traditional field. And by nature of their practice and by nature of their personalities, they're very risk averse. They're very traditional. They would not resort, like even when teleconsultations or telemedicine was first launched, a lot of people would say, oh, I can't manage a patient online, or no patient will trust the decision, or you can't diagnose, you have to see the patient, and then gradually you can realize that a lot of the things that we're managing now with the improvement of technology and the streaming and the images, you can manage almost 40-50% of patients without even having to see them at all. So, and you can order diagnostics, lab services can be home-based, even radiology is now home-based. So you can send a scan at home and have it done. And labs, of course, you can draw the samples at home. So there's a shift in mindset, but it is still a traditional practice. And especially if you're trying to venture into something new, if you're trying to disrupt a very, very old and traditional industry. And of course there is the liability and the risk. So it's quite an interesting field. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who are leading the space coming out of, like, in Egypt, we have like amazing businesses that have built like success stories, and also in the UAE and Saudi and Bahrain. So there is a lot out there a lot of role models for everyone.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that a lot of times when I speak to doctors, for example, it's the most difficult thing for me is just to say I work in innovation and they don't understand that,
Exactly.
is it an app? Is it so it's quite difficult. But did you face any challenges with regulations as well? Or was it not something that you needed to go through?
Not really. Well, regulations were very, because I've been practicing for some time, so we're very much aware. There is always, of course, whenever something is in the medical field, there is a lot of delays
Mm.
and a lot of like, like a very conservative approach,
Yeah.
but delays. I would say not resistance, but delays.
Delays, okay. And for example, in some countries that we try to implement healthcare innovations, data management was an issue for so personal data. How do you manage healthcare? Data is one of the most supposed to be one of the most secure and confidential data. So
Yeah,
could
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So we have someone in the team who's assigned to this and making sure that early on we are a compliant, data compliant, the cloud that we're using, everything is like, according to international standards because of this issue, of course.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. And who are your customers for Drew? Are they normal patients, like diabetic patients or pre-diabetic?
Well, we're focused on, like I said, it's like being a doctor. You want to get the whole thing from the roots of it, right?
Okay, got
So if even if you're not diabetic, even if you're not overweight, so we start by lifestyle, like simple tips and simple management for the daily lifestyle. Like, for example, Sahar, you want to make sure that you stay all your life healthy. You need to, take care of your diet. You need to exercise. And not by exercise, I don't mean hitting the gym or doing like
it.
CrossFit or aggressive things, just by walking 30 minutes a day. And this is actually what I used to tell my patients, like, I don't want you to do anything. Just go for a walk for 30 minutes, 5 times a day. This will lower your blood sugar by like 30 to 40%. And then they just didn't make sense to them. But when actually they did it, it made a difference. So that can be, we start from this spectrum to the end of it, where patients who are suffering from diabetes and its complications, which can be like life-threatening.
Yeah.
So we manage lifestyle, we manage people who are overweight, and we provide medicated and non-medicated weight loss plans. So someone can be, some people who are, a few kilos overweight can just go on a diet or like adjustment of their nutritional plans or something, or someone who is significantly overweight, with the new GLP-1s that are very popular now, especially in our region, like the drugs, the injections that people take for weight loss. We saw at a certain time until now a lot of patients taking it without medical supervision, and then they suffer from very serious complications that can be life-threatening. So we provide medically supervised medicated weight loss plans, and then of course diabetes management, which is our field of expertise as well.
Okay, and how does technology play a role in the application itself?
It's very important. I mean, it is an app, so it is the structure, the core, the data. We're very focused on data, the analytics of the data. Now we're doing like AI, so it's we're building it. It's not launched on the app yet. So it is, I mean, you cannot manage all these data, all those patients without technology. And this is the beauty of the modern world, right? Because without tech, I would have reached how many patients? Maybe in my lifetime, a few thousand patients, maybe 15,000, 20, 100,000. But
Mm.
with tech, you can reach millions and all over the world, not just in Egypt. So it's a very impressive thing. And this is why we're particularly launching Drew outside Egypt now. So we're focused, first we're going to launch in Saudi, then launch in the UAE and then Bahrain. So to become all over the region, because we're very focused on our patients. So most of the solutions that you find in the region are important from the West. So from the USA, from Europe, they don't speak to the Arab patient. They don't speak to our culture, to our eating habits, to our traditions. So this is very important to have something that is coming out from the region. Even the drugs that they administer here, the
Mm.
most of the research has been done on international patients, on Europeans or Americans. That's very different from the Middle Eastern or Arab patients. So this is what we're focused on.
I like that you're creating it very regional, very specific, and to our lifestyles,
Mhm.
to our eating habits, and everything that's
Right. And
that's
traditions and
interesting.
traditions.
Going,
So in
going
Ramadan, for example, you
exactly.
can't tell, I mean, it has to be tailored. It has to be understanding the kind of food we eat. So it's
Ramadan is when we gain weight. It's not when we lose weight.
Well, I have some patients that now manage to lose weight in Ramadan, so that's something that's very important.
Yeah,
We can
absolutely.
actually try this.
You mentioned AI, so you're hoping that AI will help you to predict things better and to manage your patients' health better, right?
The main driver for AI is customization,
Mm.
because not one
Personalized.
person is like the other. And
Yeah.
this is the whole essence of medicine. You can't give the same medication to everybody and expect the same result. And you can't give the same treatment plan or management plan or even any kind of plan to anyone. So with AI, our goal is customization and personalization. So I
Okay.
mean, Noha is different than Sahar, than whoever. So everybody needs something according to your lifestyle, according to your age, according to everything, your challenges and that you have in your, day to day. And the least dependency also, the second important things, goals from AI is becoming less dependent on the human factor. Because, of course, that a lot of people are shying away from being doctors.
Yeah.
It's a long journey. It's exhausting. It's not now really financially rewarding like it used to be. And there's also a lot of liability. So a lot of the younger generation are becoming, they want to do the things that, training for 3 4 years or studying for 3 4 years and then working in the business world and then making a lot of money while the poor doctor is studying for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So you will find less doctors all over the world, especially less qualified ones. And especially that the journey is very expensive as well. So you need to leverage this. You need to be aware of what's going to happen in the future, and you're aware of at a certain point of time, you'll have billions of people with very, very few number of doctors. And if you're not using AI properly, and if you're not using technology properly, then we will have a serious issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can also reach more patients, as you said. There's a book called The Patient Will See You Now. It's very interesting. I read it a few years ago. Uh, I remember a few things, and one of the things is that, putting the health responsibility in our hands as patients. And so we go to the doctor, where doctor will, in the future is like we're not just going to the doctor when we're sick, but we're going to the doctor with more information, better awareness about our health and what's going on in our lives.
Exactly. Now you don't have to even go to the doctor, Sahar.
Yeah,
The doctor
exactly.
is in your pocket. The doctor is on your phone,
Uh-uh.
like the whole concept on your watch. So basically, if you have a phone or maybe a phone and a watch,
Mm.
or well, eventually the wearable it could be a watch, it could be a ring, it could be anything. But then you don't need anything, except, I mean, God forbid, in certain circumstances where like you really need to go to the hospital. But like 70% of your journey will be within your control, right? So
Mm.
and this is actually the whole foundation of preventive medicine, because if you are in control of your health journey, you will not even need this doctor. You will not get that sick to the extent that you really need to see the doctor or receive treatment, because you have taken good care of your health and you don't need them.
Yeah, I think in like similar to other professions, we're seeing that technology is taking over, but the human aspect is still important because you want someone to talk to, you want you still want human beings to talk to. And I think the role of doctors, in my opinion, is still going to be important, but in a different way. But I worry about those that are studying medicine now, that are graduating school and studying medicine in the traditional way and just focusing on medicine itself. I don't know if it's different in universities right now. Are they adjusting to it, or I'm not sure.
They're not. It's still
Mm.
very traditional. The education is still very traditional. But once you graduate, there are different paths you can take. You can decide to stay in the very traditional path or get involved in something that's more innovative and creative. And I think the beauty of it now is that there are a lot of places where doctors can explore potential, engagement in innovative projects, being entrepreneurs themselves. And I have to be honest, I mean, when I look at most of the health tech startups, there aren't any doctors there, which is,
Um,
I mean, a lot of what we're doing is based on experience and passion and being firsthand in touch with patients. And this is something that I find you need more doctors, because they've been with patients, they've seen the suffering, they've seen the pain points, and they know exactly what they need to provide. So I want to say that I believe in the coming years, you'll see more doctors doing more startups, more innovative projects, maybe more inventions. So this is something that I'm positive will happen.
Yeah, I really hope so. I think that will shift a lot of things because you can't just do a health tech startup based on passion and, I want to change things. Even if I have a doctor on my advisory board, I don't think that's still enough. I need someone that has been there, done that, and can share that
Exactly.
experience.
Exactly.
Can you share more about the business model of Drew? How do you generate revenue from that?
So in Drew, we have different sources of revenue. So basically, we have a subscription model for Drew because we wanted patients, like we said, to have this continuity of care. So with continuity of care, you subscribe to whether a basic or an advanced package, and you get like calls from doctors, from the medical support team, unlimited medical support. You get discounts on lab services if you're not insured, of course, which is 80% of the Egyptian population don't have a decent insurance, I would say, or no insurance at all.
Mm.
So this is kind of the subscription model.
Okay.
And also we have specialized packages. So we have packages if you need like a quick fix for your diabetes, you've been diabetic for several years or you're a newly diagnosed diabetic and you want to get on track, control your blood sugar. So we have like an intensive 3-month package. We have weight loss packages. And like I said, for people who need to take medication. So we have as well medicated weight loss packages. So to be under medical supervision, which is very important because some people, they do need to take the medication because their obesity has gone overboard. And you can see, those drugs might have side effects,
Mm.
but you know that for sure, if you have obesity, you'll get those diseases. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You'll get diabetes, you'll get hypertension, you'll get heart disease, you'll get Alzheimer. So taking the medication is actually necessary. So we have medical supervision for that because it is very important to take them under medical supervision. And of course, we partner. We do a lot of B2B partnerships. A lot of the corporates now are looking into employee wellness. We're targeting as well insurance companies. So this would be our main target as we enter Saudi. So this is basically how we make the revenues. Moving forwards, we'll be looking into like packet offers, facilitating services for our patients, like offers and discounts, more on this scope.
Amazing. Yeah, because nowadays we see more employees or more companies that are interested in their employee, let's say, mental health and well-being and all of that. And you're not only disrupting healthcare, you're also disrupting insurance companies, I think. And I think that insurance has been very traditional for a long, long time.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the companies, the insurance companies, the ones that are like really big, like the ones in Saudi, for example, like in Bupa Arabia, like Tawuniya, they're very, very progressive in their thinking.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
is still a challenge here in Egypt because we're struggling with a lot of financial challenges. But in countries like the UAE, countries like Saudi, they're very focused on this. So our biggest partner would be actually insurer. And hopefully, we're targeting one day the government as well, because this is the biggest insurer as well. So if you invest very much into lifestyle modification, management of obesity, you're cutting your healthcare bill over the coming 10 to 20 years. So it makes sense to prevent it and to manage it early on, then to invest in ICU beds, and then to invest and also pay for the service, which is quite expensive. So this is the mindset that we're working on.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you about the startup ecosystem in the region specifically. What is it that you wish is there for you as a startup, as a social entrepreneur, that could be of help to you? Or do you feel like it's enough and everything is available and
Well, I have to say, to be honest, Sahar, we were very blessed. I mean,
yeah.
maybe we were lucky with our investors. So our lead investor is Global Ventures, which is a VC out of the UAE, based in Dubai. And they've been very supportive in their journey. And we also have another VC from the UK. It's Rightwood Investment. Even the French government has invested in us. So
Wow.
I think we were able to get good investors, good partners. Um, the being in the right place with the network, having the passion, the resilience for what you're building. I don't feel there's anything missing. It was probably you going out there, putting yourself out, believing in what you're doing and investing, and taking like, there were points of time where we felt this is not going to work, but we don't give up still. Even we got a lot of support from the Egyptian government. They have, very, very loans for startups at a very low interest when the interest rates were soaring in Egypt. So we got support from everybody that we could reach to. I believe the ecosystem is quite healthy. Actually, I think the MENA region is the most funded now with the global challenges. So you hear about people saying out abroad that in the US and Europe, there is no funding. Well, in the MENA region, there is generous funding, and there is a lot of appetite from investors to entrepreneurs and to health tech startups. But you have to, have something. You have to be working hard. You have to be resilient. You have to be proving concept, product market fit. It's
Yes.
not easy. But I think we have all the access we need. Even, there might be some needed to support more women in this space. So I tend to be a very strong advocate of women. Whenever I see any, young or older lady that's trying to come up with an idea or a startup, I really support them very much. And I'm very happy to be part of the Cartiers Women's Initiative community and ecosystem. I was a fellow myself, and then a judge, and then a jury head, and then now I'm a mentor, and now I'm the community activator. So women are just shy, and sometimes you just have to drag them out, and like everybody says, when a woman does something, she always feels it's small and she's shy about it. But when a
Mm.
man does something that's even quarter of it, they're like bragging about it and imagining that they're like the heroes out there. So we need more women to brag about what they're doing. We
Yeah.
need more media to shed the light on women's achievements, because then every time you do this, you inspire others who are shy, who are sitting back there and they have those amazing ideas or have great businesses, but they're not sharing their success because they're shy. Well,
Mm.
you should, because you're affecting other ladies or little girls out there or older girls that want to be also successful. So that's something I really believe in. So probably more focus on the success stories of women.
Mm. Okay, so we're doing this right.
Focusing on you, Sahar. What you're doing is
Focusing on
amazing.
myself. Yeah, I think, we had a guest a few days ago. We didn't launch the episode yet. And she said that when women always feel like, I need to get more certifications, more learning, more education in order to fit that specific thing that I want to do, versus men will do it when they're 70% ready. And,
I want to say less. That's exactly the case with women. I on my like academic record, I have a master's, PhD, two fellowships from the UK, one from the US, and I was like, maybe I should do an MBA. And
And then
I
I'll
always
try
feel
to
I
be an
can do
entrepreneur.
better. But I fully agree with what you're saying, Sahar. Yes.
And we had another guest that said something which I think resonates a lot. Now, when you were talking, I remembered it. She said that it's not about, one of her tips for social entrepreneurs, it's not just about finding a problem to solve, it's finding the best problem to solve. And I think that the reason why you were saying that the startup ecosystem, you were lucky, it's not just that because you were lucky, it's that because you found a problem that's worth solving for. A lot of times we just say, okay, this is a good
I
problem
agree.
to solve. And then, it's not just a good problem to solve. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to partner with you? Who's going to invest in you? Who's going to believe in it? Unless you actually show that you are able to gain traction and to create an impact. And for social entrepreneurs, it's more difficult because you want to do both. You do not just want to
Yeah,
generate income.
absolutely. And not just that, to be honest, like I'm gonna be very sector specific. When we talk about healthcare, there's a lot to solve, in terms of delivery, quality, accessibility, affordability. So there's a lot to solve in healthcare, and we're not short of problems. We're
Mm.
short of solutions. We're short of capital innovation. So in healthcare, for example, And that's why it's very important to be also passionate about it. And usually, each and every one of us, whenever I spoke to an investor, they have a personal story about diabetes and obesity, especially if it's coming from MENA region. Like all of us have diabetics in our family,
Yeah.
family members, maybe a parent, maybe an uncle, a cousin, or even, God forbid, a child. So it's a very challenging, and it's a very well, and all of us have tried going on diets. I mean, everybody wants to lose weight. The
Yeah.
number of people who are like happy with their weight is very, very limited, especially with the social media and people like having body image issues. So it is a very personal story to everybody. So it's always about finding with healthcare and same with education, which are my biggest passion, ed tech and health tech. So you have to be very careful with what you're solving. There is no shortage of solving or
Mm.
problem availability. So we just need to be passionate about it and focus on what would really make sense to the user or the patient or the whoever the consumer is.
I think you answered my last question, but I will ask it. I still ask it, which is what would be a tip for social entrepreneurs, aspiring social entrepreneurs, anyone that wants to solve a problem? Now, you said being passionate, you said that, there's no lack of problems, it's just finding the solutions. Is there anything else that you would like to mention?
Well, I mean, especially for social entrepreneurs, I
Yeah.
mean, it has to be a cause that you have been personally, engaged in or part of. You have to have a story. And because this is where you'll get your passion, and this is where you will figure out what you're solving for. So you have to be linked to it. You can't just come and say, I'm going to do this business in the healthcare sector or edtech. You have to have had a personal experience that didn't go right. So you want to solve it, right? So you want to fix it. You want to fix it not just for yourself, but also
Yes.
for other people. So I think that's the most important thing is find something that you're passionate about, that you feel strongly about, that you've personally suffered from, and you want to fix it not just for yourself, but for the rest of the world. That would be actually my advice.
Thank you so much. Something that they relate to and understand it really well. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Thank you so much, Noha. I think there's so much that I want to ask, but I'll not take more of your time. But really appreciate it. And thank you for showing up on a very short notice. It was lovely, lovely
A
chatting.
pleasure.
MashaAllah, you are amazing. And with everything that you are doing, you're really giving me a lot of inspiration for myself as well.
No, Sahar, like, keep doing what you're doing. You have a very impressive track record. You've been doing a lot. So,
Thank you.
and shedding the light on different entrepreneurs. I like you. I love your previous podcasts.
Oh, thank
So, I mean, I'm sure you'll keep on inspiring us with more people and spreading the news. So, good luck with what you're doing, and happy to help in any way, like I said.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure I'll get in touch with you. Don't worry. Thank you so
Inshallah.
much. Yeah.
You're welcome, Sahar. Take care.